What's going on, guys? WhiteFox1225 here, and today we're going to be talking about Chronicles of Elyria. This game was just announced and put on Kickstarter, and I have to be honest, I haven't been this excited for a game in quite some time. So in this video, like always, we're just going to be going over all the details and everything you need to know about the game. So the game's being made by Soulbound Studios. I believe this is their first game, and like I said, the game is on Kickstarter trying to get crowdfunded with a goal of $900,000, and they're about 2/3 of the way there, and they have 26 days to go. I'm pretty sure it's gonna make it, and I think a lot of people are excited and see how new and innovative this game is. But just before I go on in the video, I just want to say there is a link in the description, so if you do want to back the game and if it sounds cool to you, make sure you check out that link for their Kickstarter. But let's get into what the game actually has to offer, and it has quite a bit to offer, so this video is going to be a little bit longer and I could talk about this game all day. But it's really immersive, it's really player driven, and it changes a lot about what people think an MMORPG is, even though it is an MMORPG at its heart. First thing that's most apparent when I think you're looking at this game and how the game works is that your character ages and dies over the course of 10 to 14 real world months. When you start the game, you're going to be about 15, and when you die, you could be around 100, I think, and that's going to take place again over the course of roughly a year. And you can speed up your death by dying, so every time you die in the game, you're going to bring your permanent death closer by 2 real-world days. What this does for the game is it lets you think about the long term, not just about your character, and it lets the game tell a story over generations of people, not just about what happens in this 1 year or a few years. You get to witness a story over hundreds of years and see what the community builds over hundreds of years, and I think that makes the game really unique. Another thing worth mentioning is when you log out of the game, your character actually does not log out. They basically become an NPC, and they have AI scripts, so they'll keep doing things, they'll keep selling stuff if you're running a store, they'll keep training, they'll keep walking around, and they act just like an NPC, and then when you log back in again, you take control of them. And what this does is it makes you feel like you're permanently existing in a world, because you are, and your character never leaves. When you play an MMO, sometimes it feels like, well, I really don't have an impact on the world, I log out and I disappear. And in this MMO, you don't, you just stay in the world forever, and it really makes you feel like you're living a second life, as weird as that kind of sounds. Let's move into the combat. The combat is very skill based. It's not like a classic MMO where it's about how good your stats are and how good your armor is. There's no grinding for gear, it's all about your skill, so you're going to be dodging a lot, parrying a lot. There's no hotbar at all, it's all about aiming and timing, and I think that works really well for this kind of game where it's more about role playing and immersion rather than gameplay. Let's move on and talk about how players can actually impact the world around them and make the world their own. First off, most of the quests you're going to get are from other players, not NPCs. So let's say I'm a merchant and I need this rare ingredient. I can hire someone in-game, another player, to go get that item for me, and it's not just I'm going to say, hey, go get this for me. I'm going to sign an actual contract in-game, and that's going to say, if you get this item for me, I'll pay you this amount of money, and the game will automatically do the transaction for you. This also works, so let's say I want someone assassinated, I can hire an assassin to do it, and the possibilities are almost endless. And it makes it really cool because the story is more player driven and not just about NPCs, and you can really create your own story if you want, which is something that's very rare in modern MMOs. And on top of that, the NPCs will still have quests, there still will be a story throughout the game, but it'll be more in the background and be more event based, and this sort of player driven story will take the main part of the game. You also will have player housing, and there will be a family system. In game, I can marry another person and have children with them and build a dynasty and a family name that carries on through generations. And that family is kind of important because I can, once I die, play as my child and continue my story, or I can have the friend come and play as my child and create almost a guild in a sense where I'm playing with my friends. This is a really cool system because it allows you to have an everlasting impact on the world, because you can pass down your titles, your lands, to your future son or the person that you'll play as when you die, and that creates an everlasting story that I talked about before. And you get to witness your empire growing over time as you age and as the generations pass. On top of that, you will be able to get land that you can farm, you can build towns if you want to, you could just have a little settlement, but you can sell land to other people, create towns, cities, and like I said, really just create empires, and the game really lets you impact the world like that. You can also set up organizations like a mercenary guild, an assassin guild, or even something as simple as a crafting shop, a bakery, It really lets you just create what you want in the world. So if I want to create an evil assassin guild underground, I can do that. And that's something that you haven't seen in most games, where you can just create what you imagine, and that's what this game allows you to do. The game will also focus a lot on survival and immersion, so hunger and thirst and fatigue will all play a role, so you're gonna have to eat, sleep, and drink. There will be no fast travel at all, and what that means is if I'm on a quest and I'm going somewhere, I'll have to make camp and sleep, and it's going to make it feel more epic and like a long-term journey in the end. The environment is fully destructible, so if I'm attacking someone's city with siege equipment, I can just destroy it. The seasons will change, snow will accumulate and then melt. The economy is completely player driven, there's finite resources around the world. There's even a crime system, and overall guys, it's just a really immersive world to be in. The last thing I want to mention is that the game really lets you be whoever you want. If you want to be a crafter, you can do that, there's skills for that. If you want to be a bard, you can do that, there's skills for that. If you want to be a warrior, a mercenary, you can do that. An assassin, it's all up to you who you are and what you do. Let's talk about the business model because it's pretty unique. Essentially, like I said, every time you die, which is about 10 to 14 months, you're going to have to pay $30 to get your new life and make a new character, which is pretty fair. The game will retail for $50, so you'll be able to buy it for $50, and then every year or so you'll have to pay a $30 fee, which isn't bad for an MMO, and I think it makes sense for the game. It will also have a system similar to WildStar where you earn to play, so you earn points by playing and advancing the story, and you can trade those in for a new life instead of having to pay with real world money. The game is set to release December 2017 for PC. Like I said at the beginning of the video, there is a Kickstarter that you can fund right now, link in the description. And it's safe to say I haven't been this hyped for a game in a really long time, so I will be covering it in the future with more updates and news and all of that. So if you want to stay tuned, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you liked the video, please give it a like. Any questions, comments, leave them down below. Thanks as always for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.